Hello everybody, welcome back to Jared Opens a Box here on Jared Takes the L, and welcome to a Jared Opens a Box video that honestly I didn't think we were even going to do on the channel. I kind of went back and forth on whether or not I was going to get these. Obviously I ended up getting them or else this video wouldn't be happening right now. But we are going to be taking a look at some Youtooz figures, and this is actually a first here on Jared Opens a Box. Typically, we have done Funko Pops for WWE, but today we're actually going to be looking at figures from the rival promotion, AEW, All Elite Wrestling, which we have played the AEW video game on Jared Takes the L a couple of times. It was like, I think it was the last year, maybe a couple of years ago, I don't remember, something like that. We did a couple of episodes on it. So I thought, you know, we can do AEW on here. I mean, why not? You know, I think it'd be fun to take a look at some of these. This will probably be the only time we do it. I know there is a wave 2 of the Youtooz, but I just wanted, you know, I thought it'd be a one and done kind of thing, but still pretty cool. So let's go ahead and take a look at our first one here. And kind of funny we're starting with this one because this wrestler actually probably is most well known for his time in WWE. But we have Lionheart Chris Jericho. I don't know why they specifically made the Lionheart version of Chris Jericho rather than the one that's like been in AEW a lot more. But that's the one they did. I imagine that was probably an AEW decision rather than a Youtooz one. Let's go ahead. Let's hit Steve with the sleeve there. So here is Lionheart Chris Jericho. This one is number 3 in the AEW collection, so obviously we're going way out of order here. There is the side of the box. The back of the box says, "I am the best in the world at what I do," which is one of his catchphrases. And then the other one here, it says, "Shut your mouth." That's literally what it says. I don't know. And the inside says, "Le Champion." That's what he called himself for a little bit there when he was the AEW World Champion. He was actually the inaugural AEW World Champion. Let's go ahead and open this one up. Alright, so here is Chris Jericho, Lionheart Chris Jericho, whatever you want to call it. I'm not gonna lie, this one does look a little funny to me. It doesn't really look too much like Chris Jericho, at least not in my opinion. They have all kinds of, is this whole tattoo sleeve over here, which I mean obviously Jericho does have that. I just don't remember it being that colorful, but who knows, maybe it is. I like how they gave him that goofy grin there. He's got the Youtooz eyes, of course, long blonde hair. He's got the wrestling boots, wrestling tights, and he's even got a little jacket on as well. I think he did do a match, or maybe a couple of matches, as Lionheart. I think the Lionheart Chris Jericho thing was a WCW thing back in like the late 90s. But I'm pretty sure he brought this back for a couple of matches in AEW as well. So I guess that's why they made it. Maybe it was like a more recent thing. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I mean, there was a Chris Jericho Funko Pop. I actually think I still have it. It came out back in like 2017 or something, or maybe 2016, I don't remember, back when he was still with WWE. But now we have another Chris Jericho. I think it looks pretty cool. It does, you know, it'd be kind of hard to say, like, would you be able to tell this is Chris Jericho? I don't know, but I do think that they still did a pretty decent job with it, so kudos to them for that. I don't know why this is over here. All right, moving on to our next one. This is one of the homegrown AEW stars, I guess you could say. He's definitely been one of the rising stars in professional wrestling in recent years. He was also AEW World Champion at one point. Actually, he's held quite a few titles, I believe, in AEW. But like I said, he didn't come from WWE. He basically, well, he was an independent guy, and then he kind of grew his name and popularity in AEW. So we have MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman is what that stands for. So there is the box there, or the sleeve, I guess I should say. Here is the box. Here's the box right here. MJF is number 0 in the AEW collection. Still don't understand why they start with 0 instead of starting with 1 like any other company would. But hey, I love Youtooz, so I'm not going to complain. The side of the box actually has some signs in the back there, which is kind of funny. Some MJF signs. Back of the box says, "I'm better than you and you know it." That is his slogan. It also says, "You can't lay a finger on me." That's what the other side says. And the inside of the box says, "Did I offend you?" So that's pretty funny. Let's go ahead and open this one up. There was a lot of rumors, a lot of stuff that MJF was going to be heading to WWE. Obviously, it didn't end up happening. He signed a new contract with AEW. But yeah, here is MJF. He's not in his wrestling gear. He's in his suit and scarf that he usually wears whenever he's not wrestling. He usually wears this colored suit with a scarf of some kind, so I think that's kind of funny. He's also doing this little pose that he does with his pinky that has the Dynamite Diamond ring on it, which he has held now, I think, since 2019. So that's kind of crazy. He's already held that thing for nearly 6 years. But yeah, this looks really, really cool. They also got the hair perfect as well, even the little bit, in the back there, so that's cool. They, of course, gave him the Youtooz eyes and even gave him a smirk, which I think is very fitting for the character of MJF. So yeah, this one came out looking really nice. I'm a big fan of this one. And yeah, I just think Youtooz did a great job. Although the ring honestly could have been a little bit better, better quality, but I guess we can't complain too much. Yeah, this one is pretty nice. All right, our next one. She's kind of been, this is the only women's wrestler for this wave, but she's been pretty popular in AEW, actually, another rising star. She had a brief stint in WWE, but didn't really do much over there. AEW is definitely where she has found her calling, I would say. This is Toni Storm, and this particular version of her is called Timeless Toni Storm, where she kind of takes on the role of an older, movie star. It's kind of like a 60s movie star gimmick kind of thing. That's definitely the vibes that I get from that, especially because she's almost always depicted in black and white, and there's even an exclusive of this figure through Ringside Collectibles where she's black and white, so, that's pretty cool. I do not have that figure, but I think my dad does, actually. But it's a pretty cool, it's a pretty cool character. She also is the current AEW Women's World Champion. I had to think about that. She lost it and won it back fairly recently, just within the last couple of weeks. But yeah, here is Toni Storm. This is number 1 of the AEW collection. There's the side of the box, and again, like I said, you have the movie, the movie star stuff in the background there. The back of the box says, "I'm timeless," and then the other side says, "Pardon me for being a star." Let's see what the inside says. Oh, I was not expecting them to put this on there. Yeah, that's what it says. I'll just let you all read that one. This is a family-friendly channel. Was not expecting them just to say that. That is one of her catchphrases. I am actually quite surprised that Youtooz did that, but they are known to be a little more risky than Funko, I guess, in that regard. So here is Timeless Toni Storm. This one came out looking pretty nice. They got the hair perfect. I mean, it's basically how she wears it. They got the outfit pretty nice. She pretty much wears the all black and has this robe as well. I don't remember if it's normally see-through or not. They kind of just made it look, I don't know if they tried or not with that, but it looks pretty cool. And they also gave her some bright red lips there. And the Youtooz eyes, of course, as always. Yeah, this one came out pretty good as well. I think the black and white one would have been kind of cool, but obviously I didn't get that one. I just got this one. But this one still is pretty nice. I am a big fan of this figure. Again, this is Youtooz' first time doing wrestling figures, so, it's probably going to get better as time goes on. The details and stuff are obviously not going to be as crazy. I say the same thing with the WWE Pops, because, these are not fictional characters that you can just throw all kinds of details on, kind of thing, But yeah, Toni Storm, this one looks pretty cool. And now we have our last figure for the day. I actually personally quite like this wrestler. I didn't at first. It kind of took me a little while to kind of warm up to him because of basically the gimmick is that he is very lazy and he doesn't really he just is a very lazy kind of wrestler until he starts getting into second gear, and then he will pick up steam. And at first I thought that was kind of stupid, but after seeing some of his matches, I'm like, okay, he's actually pretty good. So I've kind of warmed up to it. But this is Orange Cassidy. And this is, like I said, he's not been an AEW World Champion. He's fought for the World Championship quite a few times, but he's held some other titles in the company. Had a pretty lengthy reign with the International Championship, I think is what it's called. So here's Orange Cassidy. This is number 2 of the AEW collection. There is the side of the box. The back of the box has, I don't know what that is, confetti, I think? Orange confetti and a bunch of signs, and he's in the ring right there. and it says freshly squeezed on the back. That's his nickname. Side of the box says whatever. And the inside of the box says, put a cool move here. So that's funny. I love that. Let's open this. Youtooz boxes always make such a mess. Alright, so there's Orange Cassidy. This one also came out looking pretty cool. They gave him the goatee and everything. I think is his hair really, I guess it is blonde. I kept thinking like it's more, obviously it's not orange. But it is, I guess that's what I was thinking for some reason. But they kind of got that down. He has the glasses, of course. He always wears the glasses. He'll put them on in the middle of his matches, actually. He also keeps his hands in his pockets as well. So I think that's kind of cool. And they even got the shirt. So he usually wears a plain white shirt that just has his face on it. They actually managed to do that, so that's funny. And of course he has like the jeans, the sneakers, the jean jacket, you know. And there are Youtooz eyes under those glasses as well. So yeah, this one is really funny. I'm glad they made this one because, like I said, he's one of their bigger stars right now. Even if he is kind of in a slump at the moment, he's not really challenging for anything. But he's always someone they can rely on, I guess. All right, so there is the first wave of AEW Youtooz. Like I said, don't know if I'm going to do any more on these. I just wanted to at least try it out and see how it goes. And these are honestly really cool. The only one, Chris Jericho, like I said, looked a little odd to me. But the other three I thought were really, really well done. I give the other three, it's MJF, Storm, and Orange Cassidy, I'll give them all 9 out of 10. Jericho, I'll just do like an 8 out of 10. Because like I said, there was just something that was off about that figure. I can't even fully tell you what it is, but there's just something off about it. And maybe you guys can tell me in the comments what it is. But, you know, that's just how I feel about it. But I think the other ones are really, really cool. I think they did a great job with their first venture into the wrestling world. I don't really think they're going to get the license for WWE because they have the license for AEW. But who knows? I don't know. I don't know if it's like an exclusivity thing. I don't know. We'll see if that does happen. But I'll go through them one more time. Let me know which of these is your favorite in the comments. We have Lionheart, Chris Jericho, MJF, Timeless Toni Storm, and Orange Cassidy. So yeah, let me know down below which of these was your favorite. When we come back next week, we're going to be taking a look at some more Marvel pops, specifically everyone's favorite friendly neighborhood superhero. We're going to have 5 new pops of him next week. So keep an eye out for that one, guys. But that is going to do it for this episode. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.